Caracas has turned into a political minefield. In the shadows of the Venezuelan capital, CIA agents are reportedly carrying out covert operations under direct authorization from Donald Trump. Military sources speak of infiltration helicopters, silent drones, and special forces positioned between the jungle and the Miraflores Palace. The target is clear: Nicolás Maduro and Diosdado Cabello. What began as an intelligence move has now evolved into a lethal phase. Venezuela stands on the edge of its greatest turning point in decades. Donald Trump's statement lit the fuse. The CIA received direct authorization to operate inside Venezuela. According to military sources, the American intelligence agency, known for decades of foreign operations, is now conducting infiltration, extraction, and target neutralization missions against the chavista regime. Reports obtained by regional analysts indicate that the first phase, gathering and reconnaissance, ended months ago. Since then, Phase 2 has begun: ground and aerial tactical reconnaissance, communication interception, and deployment of field agents. Small insertion helicopters, known as mosquitoes, and advanced surveillance drones are reportedly flying over strategic areas near the Miraflores Palace and the Colombian border. The declared mission is simple and brutal: dismantle the narco-terrorist structure of the so-called Cartel of the Suns, composed of high-ranking Bolivarian figures. The orders include lethal actions against regime leaders, with authorization to use snipers and armed microdrones whenever opportunities arise for capture or elimination. Pentagon-linked sources confirmed that before Trump's public announcement, the CIA had already carried out a silent but powerful operation in Caracas, extracting opposition figures without firing a single shot, a demonstration of the precision and reach of American operations inside Venezuelan territory. Agents now operate under new rules: no more limits. As one military analyst put it, Maduro either leaves peacefully or leaves in a coffin. The operation isn't unfolding in a diplomatic vacuum. In recent weeks, what was one strategy has become a geopolitical alignment. Official reports and statements indicate that the CIA's actions are not isolated. They are part of a coordinated international effort that has been politically pressuring Caracas, cutting off escape routes and external support for the regime. Countries once complicit or hesitant are now retreating. Historic allies are publicly distancing themselves, and Nicolás Maduro's political capital is collapsing amid scandals and evidence eroding his protection network. Regionally, the scenario is clear. Beyond the U.S. military mobilization, with expeditionary units and rapid infiltration capability, neighboring governments and trade partners have begun imposing logistical and political restrictions that complicate any route for escape or rearmament. Public statements from Latin American leaders and ruptures with Maduro feed a narrative of isolation that, in practice, shrinks Chavismo's internal maneuvering room. Meanwhile, the potential testimony of former intelligence chief Hugo El Pollo Carvajal, reportedly backed by documents and microfilms proving illicit funding and transnational links, magnifies the political impact. These materials could implicate regional actors and destroy any remaining legitimacy among those seeking a negotiated transition. The mere expectation of this testimony has already changed the board. Offers from the Rodriguez brothers were publicly rejected as mere attempts to preserve the regime's core, not genuine transition efforts. In short, while special forces consolidate their presence and intelligence on the ground, the international support chain for Maduro's regime is breaking apart, turning every local operation into a geopolitical and legal event with continental implications. The siege is both military and political, and within that space, the next operational phase may decide who truly holds power in Caracas. As American drones cross the skies and communications are silently intercepted, psychological chaos reigns inside Venezuela. Fear spreads to the Chavista high command. Ministers go into hiding, generals sleep in different places each night, and Maduro himself is escorted by food testers, fearing poison for his own allies. Local sources report that the regime is gripped by total paranoia, convinced that every official could be a CIA informant. At the same time, the Venezuelan population lives between hope and terror. On one side, the dream of ending a government marked by hunger, corruption, and drug trafficking. On the other, the fear of a direct intervention that could plunge the nation into a new civil war. The Chavista collapse has created a dangerous vacuum. Armed militias, narco groups, and rogue military factions are fighting for control in the shadows, anticipating the possible fall of the state. Analysts warn that if Phase 3 begins, involving the formal capture of Maduro and Diosdado Cabello, the response will be fast, surgical, and devastating. Expeditionary troops and silent insertion helicopters are reportedly stationed between Puerto Rico, Trinidad and Tobago, and Guyana, ready to strike within hours. According to Pentagon sources, the U.S. is not seeking open war, but the neutralization of the regime's criminal core, a precision strike, as strategists describe it. Latin America stands before a historic turning point. If ground operations are confirmed, the fall of Nicolás Maduro won't just mark the end of a regime, it will mark the beginning of a new battle for political and economic control of Venezuela. The question is no longer if the U.S. will act, but when and how hard. Do you believe Maduro will be overthrown? Share your opinion below.